Yes, thank you very much. You may go.
Ready to go? All right, thank you. I will call to order the Rockport Select Board meeting for Monday, April 10th. The first item on our agenda this evening is a public hearing for the extension of the liquor license for 9 of June. Is there anyone here with comments or anything to discuss in public forum? Public hearing, sorry. All right, I will take that as a no. So we will close the public hearing for the extension of the liquor license. We will get to that extension later in the agenda. We will move to John with your town manager's report.
Okay, so we have obviously a number of items that have come up of late. That most important probably this week, taxes are due this coming week. So we certainly want to make sure everyone gets their tax payments in on time. There was a bit of an error on the bill. The bill said that the payments were due on the 17th. That's obviously not the case because town office is closed on Monday. So everyone has another day of a respite, a bit of a holiday of sorts. So on the 18th, everyone can make their payments without any penalty. So that will be on Tuesday, the 18th. This is also the week for nomination papers are due. They're due by Thursday, the 13th. We have nomination papers available for 2 seats on the Board of Select Board. The school board has 1 seat and the library committee as well. So, and excuse me, 3 on the budget committee. Yes. So this is a good time for those who have not gotten involved to do so. At present, I believe only one, I think we have enough candidates for every position except for the budget committee. So I think there's one person who's taken out nomination papers. Hi, Jeff. And but there are two seats that do not have any papers taken out for them. So this would be a great time to not have any write-in candidates. Nothing wrong with write-in candidates, but it's certainly a lot better for the voters. I know. It wasn't a shot. It was just.
And don't forget, if you are going to be a write-in and you know about it, you have to announce.
Yes. That was. Thank you. I'm glad you mentioned that.
That was my next comment.
It's well, it is a. I think it's a situation where people probably are not used to that. So if you choose not to and say, hey, I want to get into I want to be a part of the budget committee, let's say, you can do so, but obviously you'd be a little bit after the fact. So we want to make sure that if you're wanting to be on the ballot, and certainly it's always a better product when you're actually able to see the names on the ballot and knew who's potentially up for election, you get a better outcome.
I mean, we've spent years chasing down people who had 1 write-in vote, right? And then for them to tell us that they don't want to do it. So
Yeah.
it will be a better process, but if there are people out there who are going to be write-in, to your point, Mark, make it known so that we are aware of your intentions.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't they have to fill out a form or something stating that, or did we decide not to do that?
Just in writing. So you could, simply
Email
put a
or-
letter together and say, Dear Liz Lowe, I wish to be considered for write-in for the budget committee. And
Okay.
that's it. Just so we make sure Daffy Duck and Mickey Mouse don't get the same number of votes. So that's a
And just an
good
email
point.
to Liz would work as well.
Email to Liz would work, absolutely. So sometimes these things come together late. But again, I'll just, one more time, we really want people to know exactly who's on the ballot. And I think that's a good thing for our community to know what that means. The second position on my report is the Donut Festival. We haven't done a lot of talking about this. There's going to be, there's an item here on the agenda to talk about it, but June 2nd and 3rd,
Very excited
sort of a
about the donut.
kickoff to the spring, summer season. I mean, basically, spring's 2 weeks in Maine, so I consider that spring, and then after June 30, it's summer, sort of. So the big thing will be Motor Booty Affair, obviously on Friday night. Then that turns into a whole bunch of donut makers and chefs on Saturday morning, the 5K, dinner on the bridge Saturday night, DJ. I mean, this is going to be an event. So there's a page on the website. People can learn more about it. There's You'll start to see posters up around town, and a sort of a schedule of events is on the website. So if people have questions, contact the town office. Talk to Orion. He's sort of taking some of that. But we've had a lot of folks, Megan, Carrie, and Nancy, and Sarah McLean from over at the Rockport Harbor Hotel, and we're getting a broad base of support of people who want to be a part of making this thing happen. Businesses who wish to donate to be part of this. So it's we're headed in the right direction for the first time around. There'll always be lessons learned, but I think this should be a fun event.
Great.
So something to look forward to. So that's obviously the big thing. The one thing, there's a couple of things in Orion's report I just want to touch on, or at least one I want to touch on. So the VPI task force, which is the group that's been tasked by the board to look at meeting the sort of bridge project as well as some larger pedestrian and motorist needs around that stretch from Pascal Ave through Main Street, Central Street, and then up to the top of the hill on Union Street. That group met its initial meeting with Viewshed, right? No, Sewell, that's right. Sewell, sorry. Sewell is doing is our contractor who's been working with that group. They are, it was a really great meeting to sort of go over the ground. What are we doing? What does this stretch of road look like? What are the parameters that group is working within? It should be an interesting process. There'll be public engagement portions of it. There'll be a walk to really see it on the ground and walk the stretch of roads so you actually get a good sense of that. We also have some ADA issues that Maine DOT is going to work with us on. So in terms of particularly for pedestrians. So it's going to be a really exciting process, and looking forward to getting that started. So there's a really engaged group of residents in that group, and we've certainly, I think they have a lot of good ideas. The hope is that the plan that ultimately comes to the fore is one that not only that the board's supportive of, but that will actually get some funding, some federal funding that's out there for these types of projects. So that's that's really the goal as we sort of look towards that. And last thing I just want to mention, we have this building, the library, we're sort of rounding the turn on some of the issues there. We have sort of narrowed down the focus of what needs to be repaired here. Expect that will be done here probably by mid-June. May require some changes to schedule and programs and changed hours, so we just want everyone to sort of keep an eye on things as we get into that. But obviously we want to get everything back to the way it was before the water came out of the ceiling. So it's
ideal.
It's
yes.
ideal, right? Try not to ask for too much
Right.
here. So we're very close to that. Megan's been working really hard to sort of pull that together. Still waiting on some more details on the Opera House side of things, both from the sprinkler company and from Phi, who's been working on that to provide us some quotes with the insurance company. But I think we're at least we can put this one aside and then tackle some bigger issues down the road here. And the last thing I'll just say is we have a number of open positions right now available. They're all on their website. We talked about in the report. Assistant clerk, finance clerk, there's a library assistant, which is a part-time position, and we have 2 openings in our public works department with expected departures of 2 employees, Jimmy Aldis and Russell Fuller, who've combined been with the town, almost 45 for Jimmy and 20.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's
Amazing.
68 years. They in and of themselves could retire, or the amount of time that they've worked. Their combined tenure is eligible for Medicare, I think. So
That's great.
we want to thank those guys for their
Absolutely.
years and years and decades of service to the town. So we'll be going by, and their last day is April 18th, and I'll be heading over to wish them well and thank
great.
them on behalf of the town, but that will, they'll leave a big void, and they will certainly be
Maybe they
missed.
can ride in the Donut Festival. Is there a parade? Is there a parade for Donut Festival?
I don't think so. I don't think
Oh,
we're doing a
okay.
parade this year. Are we doing a parade?
We're doing a Memorial Day.
Oh, but what time?
It's on Saturday in the morning.
Oh, Saturday morning.
They could be the grand marshals of
Well,
the parade.
You know?
Just a thought.
I mean, I thought you were gonna, okay,
I'm gonna be riding.
that's right. I think, yeah. Usually the chair of the select board has to do that, I
Has to
think.
ride
It's in the
convertible.
charter.
Oh, okay, I see. All right.
I'll get you a sash.
That's
That'd be
right,
great.
that's
And a
right. You have to
bouquet
do the
of roses.
wave.
All right, any questions for John? Anything else for John? Okay. We will open it up to public input on non-agenda items, and I know we have a gentleman this evening that would like to make some comments. Jeff, is this mic up here working? Okay, perfect.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to address the group. My name is Bob Colmar. I live in town. First, I've gotten to know a few of the Dias members and a lot of the people in town who work here. Very nice people. Always go out of their way to say hello. And I was a little disappointed on our March 9 budget meeting that y'all held in this room. About an hour and 33 minutes into the meeting, I started to hear some comments from one of the members of the dais. And it was calling out an employee, which in a budget meeting is inappropriate. It's inappropriate. It was the wrong thing to do. And when this came out, because our people in our town are nice people, and they try hard. But to be called out in a public forum like this for a housekeeping issue was irresponsible. It doesn't belong there. And after a period of back and forth, the chair didn't acknowledge that this is incorrect. The dais didn't acknowledge that it was correct. Mr. John stepped in and said, let's move on with the real budget issues. Ms. Leonard is the welcome committee for our community. She gets to meet with thousands of people who visit here. She's the first face they see, unless you're getting stopped by a policeman for speeding. I mean, she's the nicest person in town, day after day, without question. I don't own a boat, so I don't have any real close interactions. But I think the dais owes a valued member of our community an apology. It was not presented. This harassment was in a public forum. I think the dais really needs to issue an apology in a public forum because what happened was wrong. And it should be acknowledged that it was wrong and it should be addressed. I have a lot of respect for our community and our people, but when it's right, it's right. And Megan and Mr. John do a wonderful job with the budget. And all of the department heads stepped forward and did their work. Yet, in this small element needs to be corrected in a public forum.
Yep, and just to speak to that, so I did make a statement on last week's budget meeting regarding the
I
situation.
must have missed that.
Yeah, so we did make a statement. It is in our charter
Good.
that it is not our responsibility to manage or direct town employees. As select board members, we take that very seriously. I don't anticipate that there will be any additional concerns with that, but I did make a statement last week, so
I didn't hear that.
that's fine, absolutely fine. And appreciate you coming
Thank
forward with
you.
your comments.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And just to further that, I also made a comment during the Harbor Committee meeting, because I'm liaison and I always try to get to those meetings. So I spoke to that committee and Abby personally at that meeting. So, but that one unfortunately isn't live streamed, so there's no way, unless you went and
You wouldn't have known,
read
right?
the minutes, nobody would know, unfortunately. So, yeah. So I was there and we discussed it, so.
Okay,
So yes, there has been stuff, it just,
good. Because the role and responsibility is with our distinguished town manager,
Absolutely.
so.
He has a lot on his shoulders, and that's one
Absolutely.
of the most
Does a
important
fine job.
responsibilities.
He
That's right.
missed our comments. but
Sorry.
it was a fine job.
I'll
Thank-
watch it
Absolutely.
later.
Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome, thank you. Any other input from the public on non-agenda items?
I did have something I was going to ask. I had spoken to John a little bit about it, but I was wondering whether we might want to engage our Economic Development Committee in May with regard to the missing piece from the New Height survey. I mean, we've taken care of a fair amount of it with the RES property being developed into a phenomenal spot. But I would like for us perhaps to consider, if the chair so chose, to invite the Economic Development Committee in May and encourage them to continue with that missing piece of workforce housing.
And I think that's been part of some of their agenda items, so it'd
But
probably
we-
be very good
yeah.
timing.
And we
is what I was
haven't
gonna
spoken
say.
with them, or they
Yep.
not us, in
Yep.
months, so
I think it'd be
it would
very
be
good
nice
timing for them to come and give an
for
update on
them
that.
to, and an encouragement from us to go full bore ahead.
I'll make a note of that on our notes, too.
Thank you.
Is that committee fully staffed? Or are we short people there?
We're
Aren't-
probably short
Aren't we
people
down?
on that committee. I mean, I know the chair resigned, so Deborah Hall took over as the
Yeah,
chair.
aren't we only
We
at
have
like
4
four
on the
people,
committee,
right?
Yeah.
just enough if everyone shows up to have a quorum.
No, and that's great. I mean, if we were short, then we can address that as well and give them that charge.
Yeah,
But,
and if there are people listening to this at any point who are interested in those issues, there's at least one opening, but I think there's a couple.
Yeah.
I think Jennifer also resigned, Jennifer Marable.
Okay. Sorry, let me get back into this. All right, any other comments? Not on the agenda. Any amendments to the agenda? I think there is there going to be an amendment?
Yeah, so there was a question that was raised about the issue of accepting the bid relating to the West Rockport Fire Station project. So obviously, the town, we opened 4 bids, one bid being 3.2 million, the other 3, actually, though there was a calculation in terms of how they actually calculated their number, the other 3 were in the neighborhood of 3.6 to 3.7 million. So there is a bit of a chicken egg situation here, where do you accept a bid, or do you create a warrant article for the bid? So Mark had mentioned that in the past, that the board had considered the bids, accepted a bid, and then acted upon a warrant article.
Is that
So,
what they did for the library? So you
right.
accepted
Yeah.
the bid, then you
Right.
did the warrant, okay.
So this is
I don't think so,
I
because
thought you would have to get
because-
the approval on the warrant article before you would accept a bid, but
that's how, the library went to town vote in November, and then we did the bids in May. And the select board had to end up, accepting the bid, but it didn't
I
go
mean,
to, it had already gone to the warrant
I
article.
mean, I remember us accepting a bid from Phi not to exceed X.
Right.
I don't remember the order it came in. I just know that I didn't see what I was used to
Yep.
from the previous big
all right,
project.
well, let's,
So that's why I questioned
okay,
it.
let's just
As
add
long
that
as
to
it's
the
right.
agenda when we get down towards the, because we have that under, kind of lumped underneath the warrant,
That's
town
right.
meeting warrant.
Yep.
So let's add that in there after we get through our other items, and then we can determine the best way to address that. Let's move on to the consent agenda. So there is a request to accept donations for Marge Jones, and then the meeting minutes. So, John, do you just want to give us a little update on the consent agenda item for the Marge Jones?
Sure, yes. So Marge Jones, we've received just under $3,000 in donations for the Marge Jones Field. It's a great start. We're certainly hopeful that as people get outside and get their sneakers out, or their pickleball paddles, or whatever that they use, they'll start to find this and want to contribute towards that larger goal. Not to mention, I think also we hope that there are baseball parents and softball parents who will be over there, tennis players. Things start to come alive over there. So certainly hope that follows in kind. So the idea here is sort of a standing item on your agenda, a consent agenda item, so that we'll sort of include in there a listing of donations received to date, because the board has to formally accept those. So rather than go through, accept from this person for $25 and this person for $10, we could be here quite a while. So just to put them in one spot. So that's sort of how we decided to do that. If there's something that's extraordinary or deserves a bit more of a conversation point, let's say, then certainly we pull that out. But in terms of everything to date, I think we can handle it just in this manner.
Okay,
I move the board approve the consent agenda as presented.
Mark, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Okay, so now we will move forward, so let me get back to my agenda. We'll move forward on our action items. So first is the liquor license extension or the renewal for In Soma, which is Nina June, I probably am pronouncing that wrong, Nina June. Anyone here representing?
Sarah's here.
All right, hi, Sarah. Good. Any questions, comments? No? Any questions for Sarah? No? Okay. Do we have a motion?
I move the board accept the renewal of the liquor license for Insomnia LLC DBA Nina June as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? All in favor. Thank you, Sarah. Happy summer. Hope it's a great one.
Yep. Oh, my God, me too. Pack it with people.
It will be. That Donut Festival weekend, you'll be slammed. Thank you so
Thanks.
much. All right, the next item on the agenda is to act to affirm the bag change fee. So this is from Midco Solid Waste. I know there've been a lot of discussions on our board. Eric, John, I'm not sure who wants to kind of speak to this, but
I'll let Eric, he's
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
after you.
basically, as the board from Midco Solid Waste, we decided that the select boards of each town needed to acknowledge and approve the bag fee changes. So basically, that's all we're saying is the bags are going from $2.50 to $3, and what is it, $1.50
Yeah,
to $2?
the small ones,
Yeah,
yeah.
for the small ones. And then those are just for the bag fees. I think that's all we needed to discuss.
Yep.
I move the board affirm the bag fee change.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Okay, the next item we have is to act on the West Street Farmers Market Agreement on 40 West Street. So John, I think Susan, is it Susan?
Yeah, why don't you, actually, Ryan, why don't you come up so you
Ryan?
can, because you've been involved in this more so than I. Why don't you, yeah, right over to that table if you wouldn't mind. Just to get started while Ryan is relocating. Obviously, we have, there's a lot of interest with the RES property. And it's certainly a location that a lot of people they drive by and have interest in. And Orion had reached out to me that he and Susan had connected about potential of a farmer's market on that property. And I was very excited. And maybe to get my end of this sort of out of the way, I'll let Orion sort of run from there. Obviously, primary concern was, would this work with, we have a warrant article that's
Right,
being
for the-
discussed tonight. And would this in any way conflict? Or I saw it frankly as a meeting of the minds of really Kismet, that this could work really well in both instances. However, until everyone has had a chance to talk and look at things and figure things out, I just wanted to put that sense of concern on the table, make sure that this was addressed. And from hearing from the Lesher Family Foundation, they're excited about this as well. And it works well for the vision that they also foresee in this property. If we weren't talking, if this wasn't a part of the conversation, if we were just without a plan, I suppose, for the RES property, this would be a great fit. Putting that on top of it, it's an outstanding fit. So you have sort of an ability to grow in that and as well as enhance, I think, the factors that both are trying to bring to the table. So that's sort of my the other side of this, but maybe Ryan, if there's anything else you wanted to add in terms of your,
You checked all the boxes, really. So when Sue reached out to me, I was like, man, this would be great, but we're already working with the Lesher Family Foundation for this, what's before you today. But she was a little bummed about, but I connected her with that foundation, and they talked. You talked with Mary Jane, didn't you?
I did not.
You didn't talk with Mary Jane. Well, Mary Jane's aware of it, and she's all for
Yes.
it. And she expressed that to me. I thought she'd reached out to you, but.
I thought you told me they were gonna reach out to me, so I reached out to
Well,
them.
in the conversations I've had with the Lesher Family Foundation, with Mary Jane, they're for this, they agree with it, and they think it'd be a good fit, and allows them to use this as a catalyst for people to come in. They can then have a booth set up potentially, and talk with people about what can work at the RES site for what they had envisioned. So they're very excited about it.
In that case, I would move the board approve the agreement with West Street Farmers Market to be held on 40 West Street, with the agreement ending September 30, 2023.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Just one question. So we're definitely not doing the drive-in theater this year, right? This isn't gonna interfere if they decide to come forward for a shortened period, or?
Wouldn't that be up to the new owners to,
They're not the new
They're
owners.
not those.
should they be the new owners?
So this is only for Wednesday.
True,
evening.
we're still.
I know.
One night.
I realize that, I'm just,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't think there would be a conflict with it if the theater wants to renew as well with,
Because this is just 3 PM to 6 PM.
right.
A Wednesday, right?
yep,
Yeah.
on a Wednesday.
Drive-in movie
Which I think
theater
the
in
sunlight-
June doesn't start till like 9.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to see anything during that time.
Yeah.
They'll be out before dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I was just curious
that's a good
if
It's a good
we're,
thought, right.
I mean, because basically you've used the prior agreement and filled it in with the new stuff, but
Yeah.
at the same time, you know, we still may have room to put that in if it
It's not
happens.
yeah.
You know, we haven't,
Because there's nothing permanent, right? These just
No.
show up for the
Right.
day of the.
yeah. Yeah, I'm fine.
Excited.
Just wanted to ask.
All right,
Yeah,
all in
that's
favor?
cool.
Looks like we're going to have a farmer's market.
Great,
That's
thank
very
you.
exciting. Thank you
Good.
so much.
you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ryan. We're hoping the brother shuckers are there too.
Then next, we have several quick claim deeds that we need to approve. So we'll go through those. I think we've got motions for all of them. So John, we'll start with you. Are they all timeshares?
They're all timeshares.
All
yeah.
timeshares. We've received the,
And this cleans the book of timeshares. We had several, as you probably noticed, going back many years. And Shay has been amazing on this one, and so when you see her, say, thank you, Shay. They don't amount for a whole lot of money, but,
well,
you
but
know.
we're getting.
That's what I
them
said,
off
all
the
this
books.
work
Yeah,
for
getting them
$5
off
a
the
piece.
books.
Exactly. But it cleans the books, and so.
And again, I'm going to point out, Samoset should figure out a system so that we don't have to go through this.
Do we get reimbursed, like for her time going through all of this?
No,
No,
no.
I mean, they pay us to mail out the bills,
Yeah.
and
But not all the
then we
resources.
spend all this time because they can't manage to figure out a way to put it into their
Right.
monthly
No,
dues
we
or annual association fees, like every other HOA does, and timeshare.
We are, I would, and you and I have talked about this, but Eric, but this is also a good time to note that we will have an online tax payment system ready to go.
It's amazing.
Liz has worked on this pretty diligently over the last few weeks, and she and Megan have been sort of working out the details and ironing out the kinks in that. And I would not say that I would make necessarily my personal, my property tax payment in the next couple of weeks. We're still working through those bugs, but certainly by the fall, this summer, we're going to be in great order, so.
Yeah.
Just a note,
Well,
there's
that's
some
nice.
great efficiencies happening in the town office. I
I
mean,
just-
I was in there today personally, and I know the index cards are going away, which I know there's 100 years of history on those, but I know we're trying to streamline everything. There was someone in there today registering a vehicle that was elated that they did not have to go to Rockland to get a plate. So kudos to Liz and the work of all the town office staff, because I know that change is not easy. And so we're having to adjust to some of that, but there's some great efficiencies happening there, so.
Thank you, yeah. They're working hard.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so
March through these.
let's just go through them. Yep.
Move the board approve the quitclaim deed map T01, lot C01041.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
You want to trade off, or?
Denise, you do such a great job at it. You can continue.
I move the board approve the quitclaim deed map T03, lot B04-002.
Second.
Oh, Mark jumped in there. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay.
I move the board approve the quitclaim deed map T02, lot A10 dash, oops, 016.
A10, yeah, 016.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
That motion was missing some words. I move the board approve the quitclaim deed map T03, lot A06-015.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I move the board approve the quitclaim deed map T02, lot B03-004.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? All right, thank you much.
That's it.
Oh, thank goodness. I don't know, that'll be my last dig against this Amazon. For now.
All
Tonight.
right. The next item we have is the peddler's permit for Brother Shuckers. Is there anyone here from Brother Shuckers or Ryan or anyone?
He couldn't get away from work.
Okay. They're oysters, correct?
Yes.
Mostly,
This
yeah.
was the same vendor.
One that was there
Yep.
last year?
Yep.
Yep.
And excited to come back. And it was a little bit of a different process this year. As you know, probably the format of the permit looks a little different than you're used to. But you know, still through the same paces. And obviously you can see memos, emails from Abby and from Randy.
Yep.
And where they would be located for their operations.
Okay.
I move the board approve the Brothers Shuckers peddler's permit to operate a food truck in Marine Park as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Okay, well, that moves us into the June 2023 town meeting warrant. Do we want to go there, or do we want to talk about bids for fire station? Or do we want to do that when we get to that item? Article 4.
I think it might make sense to, so with the warrant, there's two questions that you have to ask off the top in terms of format.
Yeah,
And then beyond that, it's about content. It's about what's in it.
right.
So I'm not sure it makes a difference in terms of the bid process, but it may be a little bit disjointed to start talking about the bid and then not talk about the bid and talk about, you know, something
All
else
right.
for a bit. So
Okay.
maybe it would be easy to,
My only question on that was my recollection of how this one,
Yeah.
I believe, happened.
So,
And all I was gonna ask is a figure be given us at a recommendation through A2,
sure,
through to you,
Yeah.
presented to us that we would agree to.
yep,
And at that point, we would vote to accept that as the low bid. And then as we're going through the warrant articles, then we can just add that on there. But that's the purpose of my question to you, is the
Sure.
procedure.
yeah,
Right, I mean, it is in the warrant article, identify the article, low bid from Maine Coast Construction 3.2, right?
if you're comfortable with talking about that before you get into the rest of the warrant, that makes sense.
It's only my recollection of how I think things happened last time with this building, and I know Denise and I have
Yeah,
different
I wasn't
Yeah.
here, so.
recollections, and that's why I was picking your brain earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As
Makes
long as
sense.
it- Whatever works.
yeah, that's
I mean, it's
kind of how
gonna
I,
happen, but, you know,
so,
Yeah, I mean, it should be either before or after, not in the middle of the warrant article discussion would be my thought. That's,
Let's do it after. Let's get through the warrant
Okay.
article discussions, and then let's go to that after. Okay, so,
were we gonna have John read all these?
I think we should
I
get
like the simpler
ChatGPT to
way.
do it.
So do we, at the get-go, decide whether we want the consolidated version or the? It would be helpful. I like the consolidated, I think our voters would appreciate it too.
I partly felt a little bit, I was tugged in both directions. When we got to the end and I saw 25 articles, I gulped hard, because we had said through the budget process, we would try to maintain the same format that we've done with in-person town meeting. But when I saw 25 articles, I thought, oh dear, this is gonna be a challenge to print on ballots and try to, have people move through the polling booths in any sort of, reasonable fashion. So by being able to consolidate and getting the number of total articles to 17, that seemed to be at least a little bit better. 17 is still a lot
it's a
as well.
lot, but, right.
But it's better than 25.
And those are mostly boilerplate ones that aren't likely to be controversial, or ones where you want to vote for one but not the
Right.
other. Those are sort of just allows us to do our town business.
Yeah,
Some of those we consolidated, like there used to be 2 different articles for the interest rates now in one, the due dates now in one.
and my hope would be, not to go too far afield of this, but would be to take some of these and incorporate them in the warrant, in the charter.
So we don't even have to vote on them.
Right, because the next time someone votes one of these down will probably be the first time. The ones at the end that are, oh, no, we're not gonna create a tax club, I mean, why wouldn't you?
Right.
That sort of thing. So,
Why is that one even, is there some magical reason as to why that's even a vote? I mean, if I want to pay my taxes regularly, I should be able to.
Yeah.
It goes to an escrow account anyway.
it's
It's just a weird one.
it's
It's
a weird
always
one.
been weird to me to have that on the ballot.
I don't recall the reasoning for it before, except for they perhaps wanted to adjust any type of interest penalty or whatever based on what it was that year. I don't know.
Yeah. And I was thinking, if we could have, we had one with interest and dates, like that's probably one that could change yearly, and that's one you probably would have to vote on. But the setup of the tax club probably could stay the same. So there may be one way to sort of reconfigure things a bit. We had Phil look at this. Orion's had a pass at it, Megan's had a couple passes at it, I've had a pass at it, Phil has had a pass at it. This is sort of the most condensed, power-packed version of the warrant we're going to have. But if we can do some things with taking some things and just make them part of how the town's set up through
Business,
charter,
right.
Yeah.
that would be a
Yeah.
better approach, I think, in the future. But unfortunately, we can't do that this year, so.
Let me, seems how we're looking at things, and I just happened to pick up 13. You've got April 15th, 2024, and that's tax day. The office is closed, the town office.
Fourth.
If the calendar is correct for 2024, it says town office is closed to celebrate Patriots Day.
Well, how about that
Look
again?
at that again. Good catch, Mark.
Well,
Well, you
now
know.
we can make that change. How about that?
So let me make a note
What's
on
our-
that, too.
You know,
So we're all
So
set.
make that the 16th.
yeah.
Perfect. Good eye, good eye. And then obviously, on the following date, the dates of the tax delinquency date on the next line would make that the 17th, right?
Okay, so April 16th, 2024. Delinquency.
And just so you know, I've included a signature page in there, so at some point, whatever warrant you do approve, it's on its own, so we don't have to print a whole new copy of this.
Okay,
Good idea.
So,
good idea.
save you a trip.
Good idea. Okay, so do we need to go through every one of these, correct?
Everyone.
Can you decide if you want the abbreviated version or the non first?
Oh, okay.
Is that a vote, or do we just have a consensus? I mean, do we need to vote on it, or can we just, I mean, I'm in
I don't
favor of
know.
the consolidated.
I'm in favor of the consolidated.
It would be if John still reads it.
You're such a stick-
I'll read it. I'll do it.
Eric, any concerns about the consolidated?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Mark, any concerns about consolidated?
No.
Okay, so we will proceed with consolidated. Okay. So where do we get started here?
Well, so we would, Article 3,
Yep,
we start reading.
yep,
So I guess the question, so this is usually how we'll go one, usually you go one by one. At the end of each article, you would place your recommendation votes at the
Yep.
end of that.
okay,
Okay, super. Okay, here we go. Shall the town authorize the select board to enter into an agreement with the Lesher Family Foundation that addresses the future use of the former Rockport Elementary School site and includes the following key provisions? The town shall accept a donation in the amount of $1 million from the Lesher Family Foundation to be used by the town to fund a project or projects that the town, in its sole discretion, determines should be funded by the donated funds. The town agrees to retain title and to dedicate the former Rockport Elementary School site for use as a public park and recreation area. The Lesher Family Foundation will fund the design and construction of a public park and recreation area with input from community members, expending an amount of $3 million for such design and construction. The Lesher Family Foundation will oversee fundraising to fund an endowment for the future operation and maintenance costs of the public park and recreation area. The Lesher Family Foundation will cover any shortfall in donated monies to ensure the annual operating and maintenance costs are paid by the endowment and not by the town.
okay,
Accept Article 3 is read.
okay,
Second.
okay. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor? Okay,
So those will be, so 4, 0 against, 0 abstain.
yep,
Select board recommends. Okay.
yep. Are you taking notes on that? I don't have the, I mean, I can manually
filling
write.
it.
She's, yeah.
You're doing it perfect. Okay, thank
So
you,
we're
because I
gonna-
don't have it on the form here. Okay, Article 4.
This will be a fun one. Shall the town, 1, approve a capital project consisting of the construction of a new fire station in West Rockport on the property which currently contains the existing West Rockport Fire Station, including engineering and design costs, transaction costs, and other expenses reasonably related thereto, the project. 2, appropriate the sum of $3,736,641 plus any additional premium to provide for the costs of the project. 3, should the town approve Article 3 above, authorize the select board to apply the grant of $1 million from the Lesher Foundation to the cost of the project and reduce the amount required to be borrowed. And then this should be 4, authorize the town treasurer and the chair of the select board to issue the general obligation securities of the town, including temporary notes in anticipation of the sale thereof, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $3,736,641, plus any additional premium to fund the project. And 5, delegate to the treasurer and the chair of the select board the authority and discretion to fix the dates, maturities, interest rates, denominations, calls for redemption, with or without premium, form, refundings, and other details of said securities, include the authority to execute and deliver the securities on behalf of the town.
Can I ask a question? I don't know if I should wait for you to read the whole.
I can take a break.
I'm wondering, it says that the town, we use $1 million to reduce the amount we require to be borrowed, and then we authorize the town to borrow 3.7 million.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
thinking
that
the
1
same
million
thing.
doesn't come out of this financial statement either, is what I was,
If that first article doesn't pass, you can't apply the $1 million. So if you reduce it, then you reduce the amount that you can bond.
Yes, but if it
But
doesn't,
it's within the whole.
but if
like,
it doesn't pass, then it doesn't pass, because it's all written as one.
Right, so
Article
you have to do
4.
the bonding article for the max that you're gonna take out.
okay,
Or you'd have to go back to voters again to get bonding approval for that.
So we have
Oh, you
to,
mean if the Lesher Family Foundation,
that doesn't.
Oh, I
pass.
get you, yeah.
We wouldn't
Yeah.
have the million,
Article 3.
therefore we have to note
we have to do
the
the
maximum
3.7,
amount.
even though
Okay.
we are planning
Right,
among all of ourselves, 2.7 is really all we should have to bond for.
Correct,
okay.
right.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, no.
Oh, that's a good
Thank
call
you.
out. That's a very good
Oh,
call
I
out.
see, because you're reading, should the town approve Article 3?
Right, then,
But I wonder if maybe should be a different word to make it a little clearer. I don't know. Because it is kind of an easy one to, the way my mind reads, it just kind of glances over
Well,
words.
what happens is it says, shall the town, should the town.
is it if?
Yeah, I
is
was
it-
thinking it would be better if it said if,
If
but
the town approves Article
I don't
3?
know. I hate,
in the event.
Yeah,
If in the event.
Yeah.
Does that work?
I think that's better.
yeah, I think that's better
or
than
if in the
should.
event the town approves Article 3 above,
Authorize to apply the
and
grant.
authorize the select board to
Yeah, 'cause you
blah,
kinda
blah,
gotta-
blah, blah, blah. I think so,
Chicken and
because
egg here.
the should just,
Right,
it's just an easy word to ignore.
yeah,
Yep,
Make it
which is
conditional.
what we did, yeah.
Yeah,
Fairly
because we all
conditional.
did it.
right, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
You got that?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
And renumbered them.
Yeah, I made a note
Yes.
here just to update on Article 4 that we
So
numbered.
select board 2 apply, did we get that?
I said, if in the event the town approves Article 3 above, then authorizes the select board to apply the grant of $1 million from the Lesher Foundation to the cost of the project.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
That's
that's
good.
clearer.
Mhm.
Because I really don't like these long-worded,
I know it's hard because
confusing,
people
you know,
then
you get
just-
them from the
right.
state and you're like, if I vote no, it really means yes. I hate those.
I get it.
I don't want any of those.
That's fair, that's fair.
Thanks, Megan. Okay,
Want me to keep rolling?
yeah, keep rolling. Oh, go ahead.
Hey,
The amount as given in there is not correct.
Oh,
Need to correct that now?
Yes.
yes,
sure.
So the base bid from Maine Coast is $3,223,971.
Right.
I'm just calculating this
Well,
out
I think
again.
you added
but
the
then you
other,
have to add the 500 and
Soft costs.
something, right?
You have to add the alternate,
It's like 9,000 or something.
weren't
Yep.
some of those,
1,000 and change.
Yeah,
And then the total addition, what we've listed in the updated spreadsheet of additional owner costs at 525, 655, 64. Brings you to a total of $3,758,673.64.
hate it when that happens.
58 what?
I thought we were taking some of the soft costs and adding it into whatever budget year we were going into.
We are. Yes.
As we talked about
Yeah.
furnishings
Yes.
that could be
But I-
pulled out.
So the last one that you had seen from last Monday night included, it had the security costs, but it did not have the radon, it's not radon, asbestos abatement, and we had some revised figures for the water taps that increased by 2,000.
As well as the lead and asbestos
Yep.
inspection costs that have already
That's
been
right.
approved.
Yep.
So it is
Got
sort of
those in.
interesting if we're working on this, but we really haven't heard all the details of
Right, that's just,
your point, yeah.
right.
So,
So, can I make a suggestion?
Yep,
We'll finish this article, freeze it in time, and then come back.
okay.
I don't want to have to read that
You don't
top
have to read
section
it
again.
No, you don't have to
I'm
read
kidding,
that again.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
Okay,
I will do the financial statement, even though it's
I-
wrong.
I updated the amount to what she had.
Okay.
okay.
So I'll stop talking when you say, do you want to do it? You can do it.
No, I'm good.
Oh.
You're doing such a great job.
Well, no, because we have to redo the
Don't have the
costs
right
in the
one.
financial statement too.
Right.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, but I don't have them.
But-
Oh,
That's
okay.
fine.
You'll have
You're
to
gonna have
read
to
it.
do
So, financial statement, total bond indebtedness, bonds outstanding and unpaid, $6,228,570. B, bonds authorized and unissued other than this loan, $4.5 million. C, maximum amount to be issued if approved, $3,758,65. 2, cost, an estimated maximum interest rate of 4.27% for 30-year maturity. The estimated cost of this bond will be principal $3,758,675, interest $3,231,453, total $6,999,128. 3, validity. The validity of the bonds and the voters' ratification of the bonds may not be affected by any error in the above estimates. If the actual amount of the total debt service varies from the estimates, the ratification by the voters nevertheless conclusive, and the validity of the bond issue is not affected by reason of the variance.
Is there something the ratification by the voters nevertheless is conclusive?
Is,
There's something missing, the actual amount.
Bonds may not be effective.
voters is nevertheless, I think.
I think if you put is between nevertheless and conclusive, it's fine.
Nevertheless is, yeah.
And I know, Megan, we've talked about
That's why
this,
we have to
John.
read it, 'cause when you read it, you're like,
We're asking for a 30-year. Just say somebody waved a magic wand and come in with a couple of $1 million they wanted to give us. Is this one that we can, or do we have to
Early?
stay the course for 30 years? Or can we pay it off early?
Typically with a bond issue like this, there's a penalty for prepayment.
Okay.
But lease agreements and stuff like that, we can typically pay off early without a prepayment penalty.
Yeah, it just was.
But if someone has that wand,
Well, no, I
it
mean,
may be worth
I
it.
think we had talked about that one other time for something. I just didn't know whether this fell into you can or you can't.
I mean, that's how they make their money. That's why they want to charge you the prepayment penalty.
True.
But, I
But it
mean,
might be worth it
sometimes if you pay it, the
Right.
prepayment penalty won't be as much as the interest paid,
Yeah.
so. If somebody wanted to dump a load of cash to pay this off.
I'll lend you the money.
There we go.
There you go, all set.
I'll just write a check
He's
tonight.
got the wand.
Okay, so
the magic wand.
we're not voting
Wish.
on this one yet. Is that what we're
That's right, I think,
gonna
to
go?
me, it seems like we want to hear more about
Okay,
where
so
we ended up.
we're gonna put this one on hold just for a moment. We'll move to 5.
Sure. Shall the town adopt the
They don't
amendment?
have to do 5, do they have to?
Oh, because that's
No,
planning board.
only.
Well, yes, they do.
Oh,
They have
we
to
do?
place it on, they have to place it
Oh,
on
we
the
have to
warrant.
agree to
Oh,
put it on the warrant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shall the town adopt the amendments to the Rockport Land Use Ordinance zoning map to simplify the 906 and 907 zone districts and amend the corresponding 906 and 907 sections of the land use ordinance for clarity purposes? Copy of the proposed zoning map amendment is available on the town website and at the town office. Planning board votes 5-4, 0 against, 1 abstain. Recommend.
Move to accept Article 5 as read.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
And we can make those
4.
easy for people to find on the website
Yes,
somehow.
please.
Because
The
people
whole
always say to me,
section.
I can't find them.
Yes, yes.
So that was 4-4 for those taking notes, Megan.
Do they have to, do we publish their
Oh.
recommendation votes on here?
I don't think we
I
have
don't
to. I
think we
think we
do.
just, it's gonna
Please.
be on the, okay. We just agree to have it on the warrant.
Right.
Okay, same scenario with Article 6.
Sure. Shall the town adopt the amendments to the Rockport Land Use Ordinance zoning map to change a parcel zone located at map 007, lot 087, from 904 to 902? Copy of proposed zoning map amendment is available on the town website and at the town office.
Is it, a
That's a parcel?
yeah, is it a parcel, like one?
Oh, apostrophe S, maybe, a parcel.
Yeah, I think there should be an
Okay,
apostrophe.
a parcel's apostrophe S zone, okay.
Possessive, yeah.
Where is that?
Just on
Second
Article
line.
6,
I
second line.
mean, where?
Oh,
Where's
where
the parcel?
is,
I think it encompasses the area of Hall Wax going west, if that's the one. I know he had a question about it not long ago.
This is, I can speak to this.
Okay,
It's
good.
my parcel. It's on Gurney Street,
Gurney Street,
Old
yeah.
Rockland Street, heading towards Vinyl Street.
okay.
I said corrected.
It just helps to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we'll put an apostrophe S on that, okay.
And was that just not in the right, it didn't make any sense with it?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'll try to tell it to you in brief, but we're a farm, and we'd like to put a farm stand there. We have bought 902, and if we're in the 902, we can put a farm stand, et cetera.
Makes sense.
Nice.
Ready for 7?
Well, we got to do a motion.
Did you
to
vote? Oh,
put it
okay,
on.
sorry.
Motion to accept 6 as read, Article 6 is read.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay, we'll put it on the ballot. Thank you. All right, Article 7.
Article 7, shall the town adopt amendments to the Town of Rockport Land Use Ordinance to place the solar farm ordinance within and to be known as Section 815, Large Solar Energy Systems, and with proposed amendments pertaining to large solar energy systems. Copy of proposed amendments are available on the town website and at the town office. Planning board votes 6-4, 0 against, 0 abstain, recommend.
Recommend Article 7 as read.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor to include? All in favor to include. Okay, Article 8.
Shall the town adopt amendments to the Town of Rockport Land Use Ordinance language pertaining to certain requirements of state legislation LD 2003, Title 30A, subsection 4364, Title 30A, subsection 4365A, and Title 30A, subsection 4364B. Note, only a portion of the LD 2003 is being proposed. The remainder will be on the November 2023 ballot. Copy of proposed amendments are available on the town website and at the town office. Planning board votes 6-4, 0 against, 0 abstain, recommend.
Move Article 8 as read.
Second?
Discussion, Orion?
Well, I just want to know, like, is this like the time when can I talk to them about LD 2003 a little bit, or is that a little bit later?
No, this would be the last time, forever. This is it.
Jump in.
Well, let's
Come
hope.
up to a microphone, though,
Yeah.
somewhere, Orion, so that we can,
There's one up here.
or
Yeah,
there's
sit
one
next
here,
to-
or there's one next, you can use Megan's.
Okay.
Okay, well, Joe's here, and Joe can attest to this. We had a lot of fun with LD 2003. So there's 3 major components of that. The first one is affordable housing subdivision, like a cluster-style development. That one's going to be a very in-depth process to get that integrated, possibly, as best as we can. The second one is dwelling units to allow for up to 4 dwelling units on an empty parcel. And depending on interpretation, that is either satisfied or not satisfied in our current land use ordinance. And we're going on an interpretation that you can do it, but a minimum lot size is a minimum lot size, and you can only obtain up to a certain amount of dwelling units on that. If you want more, then you have to have a larger land size for that. I think it makes sense, and our attorney has advised us on that stance, so if anybody comes up for it, that's how we will defend it. Depending on what happens, you might see an amendment to that for November to change it, but it's still up into how you interpret it. And then the final bit is who gets to court first, how that gets settled in court, and then that's really going to be the writing rule. So I'm hoping Rockport is not a part of that guinea pig trial. The third bit is accessory dwelling units. We don't have a definition, so it's mainly just adding a definition and where it's allowed. But that, in a nutshell, is what we got.
And we can hope that the people that are in the state and working on rewriting this now actually get smart and knock out the under 10,000 is disqualified and don't need to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. So John and I talked a little bit about this, and I don't know if it'll be next month or this month that we talk about it further, but about the town not jumping on a bandwagon in any financial capacity, but at least in a letter of support that giving us a year extension on this would be very beneficial. So John and I have talked, I don't know if it's just we write a letter, if that's the select board taking a stance on it, we're not quite sure yet, so.
Yeah, I think we should do something because I know that they're pushing it out, they're trying to push it out to at least October because they're like, oh my gosh, the deadline is here and nobody knows what to do.
Well, that's mainly because of their proposed rules.
Right.
Right.
they don't have
Well, the
final
rules and regulations are still proposed, so.
Right,
it's like-
yeah, it's like, okay, you can't even decide on your own and you want the rest of the state to figure it out for you and take it to court and figure out what the rule is basically where they're throwing it, and it's ridiculous, but
I agree with that.
I'm hoping that the towns under 10,000 exclusion actually happens, because that eliminates most of the state.
Most of the
Most,
state.
right, exactly.
Pretty much.
I mean, it was targeted for the larger towns and larger cities. I mean, it's ridiculous that some little town with 500 people, or even ours, or any of these towns around here have to deal with this
Yeah.
without the state even fully vetting whether this is a good idea or not.
Right, right.
And now that's on record.
So John, is this now, should the select board?
Well, I think we need to figure out the vehicle for it, like we were talking about earlier. Like I think it's wise to, I think it seems like there's agreement amongst the board in terms of taking steps. I think probably the trick for you and then me is to figure out what's the best way to take that energy and put it into the legislative process.
I'm
So,
happy to sign a letter if you want to write something.
I love it.
I do not write.
Right.
I am not the
But he'll
person
lend
to
his
write
signature.
Numbers.
anything.
Numbers.
Numbers, that's
Put numbers in it.
I will sign it.
And the urgency,
Meeting tomorrow, Ryan, in Augusta?
No.
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 But you're considering that?
I was considering it, yes.
is there a date of urgency for the letter?
No.
Okay, I just
No,
wanted
it's
to make
not,
sure.
it's
if
not
there
urgent.
was
I mean,
we could-
there's plenty of support right now from other municipalities that, I mean, we would just be an extra.
And is MMA taking a position on it, or MMA?
They are taking a position, and I forget exactly their position on it. I think they're more towards the 10,000 limit,
Supporting that,
yeah,
which is where we would be.
yes. So,
All right, any other comments? We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor of adding this article? Okay. All right, Article 9.
All right. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following expenditures for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. A, administration, $41,440. B, town manager, $368,690. C, town clerk, $328,480. D, planning and community development, $412,018. E, finance, $302,405. F, assessing, $229,367. G, insurance, $82,961. H, general assistance, $11,320. I, police department, $866,090. J, fire department, $875,339. K, other public services, $343,240. L, animal control, $5,900. M, harbor master, $263,420. N, emergency management, $4,490. O, public works, $2,549,666. P, sanitation, $172,812. Q, library, $576,380. R, conservation commission, $13,046. S, parks, $79,961. T, opera house, $188,598. U, recreation, $64,919. V, buildings and grounds administration, $282,777. W, town office building, $185,374. X, public safety building, $24,980. Y, West Rockport Fire Station, $8,090. Z, debt, $408,550. Double A, county service E911, $88,954. AB, county service dispatch, $43,830. AC, cemeteries, $161,720. AD, special assessments, $6,800. Total, $8,991,617.
Move Article 9 is read.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 4-4.
And tomorrow, the budget committee's meeting
Their
to
meeting,
do
okay.
their sections, so just, they'll be next on the list, so.
10.
Article 10, all right. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the following as revenue from the following sources to be used in reducing the property tax assessment for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. A, general government, $1,420,742. B, public assistance, $9,000. C, public safety, $439,425. D, public works, $76,879. E, culture and recreation, $195,845. F, buildings and grounds, $14,470. F, all other cemeteries, $112,500. G, schools, $93,750. H, unassigned fund balance, $380,000. I, special assessments, $517,500. Total, $3,260,111.
Move Article 10 is read.
Second.
Any discussion?
Fix the double Fs.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that, I'm sorry?
I said fix the double Fs.
Oh, yes. Thank you, good catch.
Buildings and grounds and
So
all
did
other
she say-
cemeteries.
Yeah,
Yep,
they're both F.
okay, got it.
Megan, you got that?
That's supposed to
Thank
be
you.
automatic.
I know.
You know, I only got it because you went F, and they said F, and I went,
I didn't even catch it.
All right,
I blacked out there.
all in favor? Okay, that is 4-4 for Article 10.
And so
you forgot the winning lottery ticket, $5 million.
just as a reminder before we go on to the rest of these, so your next regular board meeting will be a public hearing on all of the items on the secret ballot, including the budget. So this will be a very different, well, it could be a very different public hearing because effectively this is the discussion portion for folks who have questions about what's
Okay.
in the budget.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
just as a preparation for next time.
For May.
For May.
Okay.
All of these secret ballot items, even the ones we're gonna get into next, which are the more mundane questions.
Yeah.
We'll have to run through all of them in that
Okay.
public hearing.
We'll be ready. All right, Article 11.
Ready for 11? All right. To see if the town will vote to authorize the transfer of all unexpended balances to fund balance and to authorize the overdrafts that may occur in the town operations in the 2023-2024 budget to be taken from fund balance and to see if the town will vote to authorize the payment of tax abatements and applicable interest from the property tax overlay account.
Move Article 11 is read.
Second.
Discussion? In favor? Okay, 4-4.
Article 12, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board on behalf of the town to sell and dispose of any real estate required by the town for non-payment of taxes and/or wastewater charges thereon, on such terms as they deem advisable, and to execute quitclaim deeds without covenants for the property. The sale or disposal shall be made only after consultation with the planning board and the Conservation Commission, except for the purpose of clearing title or of reconveyance of real estate to the original owner, or in the case of timeshare units, reconveyance back to the original owner or the Timeshare Estates Association of unit owners. Property to be disposed of by written policy and on terms the select board deem advisable.
Move Article 12 is read.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 4-4.
Article 13, to see if the town will vote to set October 16, 2023 and April 16, 2024 as the tax installment due dates to set October 17, 2023 and April 17, 2024 as the tax delinquency dates and to fix the rate of interest on delinquent taxes at 8% interest per year and to fix the rate of interest on delinquent wastewater charges at 8% interest per year.
Move Article 13 is read.
Second.
Any discussion?
The percentages are in accordance with what the state allows us. That's the high of,
That's the number.
all right.
Okay. All in favor? 4-4. Article 14.
To see if the town will authorize the select board and treasurer on behalf of the town to accept gifts, real estate, and certain funds, including trust funds, that may be given or left to the town.
Move Article 14 is read.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? 4-4.
Article 15, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to accept those conservation easements which the select board deem appropriate in the name of the town of Rockport, provided, however, said conservation easements are first considered by the Conservation Commission and Planning Board, and for the select board to enter into boundary line agreements with the abutting property owners to establish the boundary line of any property of the town, including the boundary lines of the right of way of roads. Cool.
Move Article 15 is read.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? 4-4.
Article 16, to see if the town will authorize the treasurer to waive the foreclosure of tax lien mortgages pursuant to 36 MRSA Section 944 upon a finding by the select board that ownership of the property subject to the lien would be contrary to the town's best interests.
Article 16 is read.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 4-4.
All right.
And Article 17.
Here we go. To see if the town will vote to authorize the tax collector to enter into a standard agreement with taxpayers establishing a tax club payment plan for commercial and/or residential real estate property taxes, whereby, 1, the taxpayer agrees to pay specified monthly amounts to the town based on his/her estimated and actual tax obligation for the current year real estate property taxes. 2, the town agrees not to charge interest on timely payments made pursuant to the tax club agreement. 3, the town authorizes the collector to accept tax club payments for current year taxes which may be due prior to the commitment of those taxes. 4, the agreement is automatically terminated if a scheduled payment is late, and the taxpayer then becomes subject to the same due dates and interest dates and rate as other taxpayers who are not participating in the tax club. 5, only taxpayers who do not have outstanding tax obligations for prior years are eligible to participate in the tax club program. And 6, taxpayers wishing to participate in the tax club for a particular property tax year shall enter an agreement with the town by a publicly advertised deadline determined by the tax collector.
Move Article 17 is read.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? 4-4. Okay, so with that, we need to now circle back to Article 4.
Yep.
Okay. So we'll circle back to Article 4, and we will talk about the bids and the discussions that have been occurring regarding the bids. So I know we have Amanda, we have Bill, we have Jason. You have the bids.
Yep.
So let's kind of dig into that for a few minutes. If anyone wants to come up to the mic. I know the low bid was Midcoast, and you had a meeting with them last week, correct? We did, yep.
Yeah, you come up, yeah.
Yeah, come on
I
up.
don't want Jason to feel left out.
No, Jason, please,
He has his own mic.
right up. That's right, your own seat, your own mic.
Yeah, sure. I want to make sure they see you here.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. So, I know we have the amounts, the 3.2, but if you want to kind of just give us a walkthrough of those discussions, any changes,
Yep.
concerns. I know you went through all the bids, made a spreadsheet, did all of that, so.
Yeah, why don't you
Floor is
start,
yours.
Amanda?
You want me to start?
Since then, you've met with Maine Coast. and-
Yep, so we met with Maine Coast on Tuesday of last week, went through a few questions, one of which was just kind of confirming the difference between their bid and the others that were above them and much tighter. And I think what we heard is a lot of that is attributed to, and I think it's clear in the bids, attributed to their proximity to the project. Their general conditions are lower, so that was one item. We also talked about getting started, and they are already looking at value management opportunities to try and bring any values to the project that they may bring. We also turned them loose on getting the quote for the abatement work, which they did obtain and is now in the spreadsheet we provided additional owner costs. They're anxious to work with us and ready and willing to start. So, and we did go through all the bids. We provided a spreadsheet within the team, and maybe it's been provided to you as well, to compare the bids and the numbers that came in each of the division categories. Corrected the math of one bid, as John mentioned earlier.
And then also just went through to make sure that all the bids provided the information they were supposed to and where they were lapsed in that. So pretty consistently, we saw that they were all, you know, with a few minor items, all the information came as in as it was supposed to. And there weren't any glaring, I think, observations as far as the comparison of the numbers that stood out to us, so.
What questions?
Anything to add?
Maybe you could talk about the development of the soft costs, just because.
Sure, yeah, I can
know
walk through
you-
that.
We talked a little bit about that last time, but
Yep.
obviously we talked a little bit before, but maybe
Yeah.
just,
So we updated the spreadsheet today, so I'm not sure what you have in your packet or in front of you.
I haven't seen it.
We don't,
The-
we don't have anything.
I haven't seen it, so
So, wish I could make a copy for you.
I can share it
Okay, John has it in his email.
somewhere.
I think it was around, no, since this afternoon. So we did update it, we mentioned earlier, we updated, just as he's pulling that up, we updated it to include the costs that was previously approved to do the inspection, the abatement costs as provided through Maine Coast, which includes a little bit of management time for them and their markup as well. Security and fire a fire alarm was already in there. We did also get an
I know.
updated quote
I might.
for
We'll
the water stubs to be brought in from the street.
Okay.
That quote came in from Farley. Part of the discussion from Maine Coast was that they plan to use Farley to do the work on the site themselves, so we felt it wise to have them do that initial work as well, just for continuity. The bid was a small amount more, but we felt that continuity was worthwhile. So those, I believe, were the changes that we made since the last time you would have seen it, and the total is $525,655.64.
Thank you.
Yeah.
John just sent us the updated
Yep.
spreadsheet.
I don't know if you mentioned the fire marshal permit.
That was in there previously, but that is, the cost.
No,
But yes, we got
but-
the permit today.
Right.
The building permit was approved today.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one minor comment in the drawings regarding a piece of door hardware, but other than that, we have a permit in our hands. We will be, as we've talked about before, going back to planning board to just have them review a minor change to the previous approval. And then Scott and Orion have talked about reviewing and hopefully approving the building permit at that time through the town.
Okay.
So getting
So
their
really, the
comments.
biggest difference on this from the one we saw last week is that asbestos abatement, correct? 'Cause I don't think we had a number
That
in there
is
before.
correct.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
And the smaller amount to that
Seco
was to do the
security,
inspection.
that was the biggest change.
That was actually in there last week. We got that amount just before the meeting, so that was in there.
Yeah, because this number doesn't seem to be
Much,
much bigger than
different.
what we saw last week,
Yeah.
so, okay. And as you go through and had your go ahead, sorry.
That's
Oh,
okay.
As you've gone through and had the conversations with Midcoast, I mean, they're obviously anxious. There's no concerns about them being able to complete the work and stay within that budget and look for opportunities.
No, there wasn't any concern about that. They are ready to start in the fall, whenever we are, September, October timeframe, most likely. And then within the 12 to 14-month timeframe we'd outlined in the bid invitation, they were open to that schedule and felt that was reasonable.
And in the contract, John, obviously, we wouldn't enter into a contract until the voters approved the warrant article, but that is
Right.
obviously in there, correct? So we're
Right.
not in a position where we
Right.
have a contract with them yet, the voters haven't approved it.
Exactly, and that could, potentially, that could delay things if we, voters will do what the voters will do,
Right.
but obviously, you need to come to some terms and have the board agree that that's the terms of the agreement. Now, obviously, we had some conversations with Maine Coast, and they're eager to start working with us on some of these issues. So I was very heartened to hear that. It would be completely reasonable for us to say, see what the voters say, and then they'll come back to us, because it's just wasted time if the voters were to turn this down. But they were actually eager to work with us so that we could, be as prepared, one, be as prepared to have the board consider a contract, but
Yeah.
two, to also work on ways in which we can make the cost, but also the actual particulars that make the project work better. So they seemingly are invested, even though it's up to the voters,
Right, right. I
or,
mean,
or
that's
up to the board
biggest-
and.
Right, that's the biggest
So
thing right now.
would you craft a motion in this particular case along the lines of accepting Maine Coast's low bid for X in conjunction with the acceptance of the voters' approval of Article 4 in the amount of, I'm just winging it here to get a motion out there for us to go forward and talk about, which joins one with the other.
Yep, I have to add
Megan
them
will have
too.
to fill in the number.
That's what I was,
Yeah.
yeah,
$3,758,000, $3,758,675.
what she said.
All right.
Second.
Perfect.
All right, I'm gonna have to write that down though, because, okay.
Yeah, second, she's got a scribble.
Tell me what you got, and we'll go from there.
I got motion is then what I got, so let's start
Accept
again.
the low bid.
We're moving.
Accept
Okay.
the low bid from Maine Coast Construction, not to exceed whatever the dollar.
$3,758,675.
And then the next is the in conjunction with an affirmative vote or a positive vote from the voters on Article 4.
Should the amount to Maine Coast include all of the soft costs, I guess would be the question? Because some of those, like the permit, they're not paying for that.
They're not payable by Maine Coast.
Right.
Right. They're not payable by Maine
Right,
Coast.
so
Currently,
if
it would
we
be the base bid plus the addendum.
Right,
So
so we
what was-
can't say 3,700,000 for Maine Coast because we're including the soft costs, which are gonna be paid
Directly.
So would
directly.
it be better to say the low-cost bid, which would be the amount of their original bid?
3.2, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, plus the
Plus.
additional soft costs in the amount of,
You want to try that one?
yeah, I just don't have any, I mean, I'm sort of
I
jotting
don't know what the
numbers
number,
down.
you'd have to get the number.
Here,
hold off.
that's the easiest way, far left column. And then the addendum is below that.
Gotta add the
Okay,
9,000
so we'll accept the low bid from Maine Coast Construction of,
in the amount of $3,223,971, plus the alternate one ceiling tiles, in the amount of $9,047, plus soft costs.
Which is in the email.
Yep,
Oh,
525,000,
but I went
six
back to my agenda.
525, okay,
655.
525,
650.
655, 64.
Yep,
Or in the amount of $525,655.64,
Okay. In conjunction,
in conjunction with the voter approval of Article 4 in the town warrant.
Now I'll second that.
okay, hold on,
You might have a
So
motion.
just read the first part again,
hold on.
when you finish, yeah. When you finish with your shorthand. See? Now, if we only remembered shorthand.
Did you learn shorthand?
I did.
Of course you did.
My grandmother was a
I'm-
fluent shorthand person, and I took it in school just so
Okay.
I could read her writing.
Okay, so accept the low bid from Maine Coast Construction of $3,223,971, plus the additional soft cost of $525,000. I'm missing a number of
Yeah,
some
you're
sort.
missing that
9,000.
Yep.
sorry.
Ceiling tile.
Alternate one.
So
The
Okay, what's the
non-flammable
ceiling tile
tile.
number?
the alternate one ceiling tile amount of
these-
9,047, all right, I'll rewrite this. So plus the alternate one ceiling tile of $9,047, plus the additional soft cost of $525,655.64, in conjunction with voter approval of Article 4 of the town warrant.
Some paper.
Are we good with that?
Yep, so that's my motion.
Okay?
Okay,
Got a second?
okay, Denise motion. Who has a second?
Mark.
Mark has a second. Diane's gonna love this. All right, further discussion. All in favor? Okay, all in favor. So now we need to go back to the article.
And we won't say as read, because you read it with the right amounts.
Yep.
Okay,
So move Article 4 as read.
okay.
Second.
We have a second. Discussion. All in favor of Article 4 going on the ballot? All in favor? Okay. Now, John, now that we've been through all of those, do we need to do an overall move,
Yeah.
the 2023? Okay, so I move the board approve the June 2023 annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
Denise seconds. Any discussion? All in favor? All in favor? All right, fire station's gonna go on the warrant. Thank you. I know this has been a lot of work. I know it's been a lot of work.
Thank you.
Hard
Yeah,
work.
you want to, yeah, you can say,
What
yeah.
do you want?
So I was going to speak and I didn't get a chance earlier. Today, Adventure Advertising sent out the actual mailer for the rec committee, for the Marge Jones capital campaign. It's the new updated flyer to all the residents and businesses of Rockport with a QR code if anybody is able and willing to donate. We had 2 people walk the property today. Unfortunately, the road is still super, super soft because it doesn't get any sun on that section. We're hoping at the end of this week, we have beautiful weather. We'll hopefully be able to open maybe this weekend, if not next
That'd be
week. So I
great.
just wanted to
Yeah, the next couple
let
of
people
days are
know
gonna be
there's
nice and
people,
warm.
there was 10 cars there playing pickleball. They walked in, you can walk in.
Yeah,
We
I
just
saw a
can't
bunch
let
of people out
vehicles
there
on the
today.
road. So,
That's great.
thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, let me get back to my agenda here. That was a lot. That was a lot of reading.
Well done.
Spam
Nice
over here. I
job,
hope you don't
John.
need anything out of me the rest of the time. I was afraid, Mark, what you should have said was, when we got at the end of the budget, you just say, you know what, I think we should go back to the other way. That would have been,
That's right, we've changed
All
our
right.
mind.
right.
So now we need to act on the annual renewal of the Special General Assistance Warrant. Thank you so much.
Thanks all.
General Assistance Warrants Disbursement Policy.
Yeah. So this is not anything, there aren't any changes to this policy. It's annual renewal to simply authorize, so that we can quickly get checks cut, when someone is in need and qualifies for general assistance needs. So that's all this is.
Just the annual review, okay?
I move the board approve the annual renewal of the Special General Assistance Warrant Disbursement Policy.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is there an easier way to do that? I know check or not credit card, obviously, but I'm wondering if we could set up some kind of system that, like an EBT kind of card that she could load and then they can run it there, something. I don't know. How hard is it to, how much
How many people?
trouble is it to write the check?
It's not. It's
Okay.
not. It's not hard at all. I mean, it goes out a warrant and then, Mark or Jim would come in and sign the warrant, but we go ahead and issue that check. So it's pretty quick. I mean,
Okay.
I'd be more worried about giving them cards, because you want to make sure that it's being used for
For their
whatever
right.
assistance they've been
Yeah.
approved for.
No, I was thinking like the property itself, saying, here's a card, we're sending somebody over, we put the $300 on it, run the card, kind
Oh,
of thing.
gotcha.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like kind of a prepaid type card where they could only run it for that amount.
yeah.
But no, whatever. As long as the check isn't a problem, I mean, whatever. I was just trying to come up with something easy.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor? Okay, all in favor? All right, the next is to act on establishing the WWRF Exploration Task Force.
Yeah, so we've had, it's been an interesting time, I think, since your workshop in early February,
Yeah.
where the board and staff and Nate McLaughlin from Woodward and Curran talked about what staff had been working on and what sort of Plan B looks like if the town needs to consider constructing its own wastewater treatment option. And the WRF was a key piece of that conversation. There's 2 parts to this. And the first is really written here, and the other is relating to a somewhat unrelated conversation, but one that I think probably many of you had with Richard Remsen concerning the topic of Route 90. I'll talk about this first, and then maybe we'll get into what the Route 90 aspect of this is. So since that meeting, as many of you know, many in town have great concern.
Sure.
Right? It's gonna, smell, odor, noise, cost, ruining, parks, environmental damage to the harbor. There's a long list of issues that I think everyone at this table and staff have heard from residents, and certainly they're the same questions that we all had as, sort of working through these issues. But it seems apparent to me that we need, while staff can do a great job, and I think we've had great conversations with all the committees who've been tasked, who've been meeting on this topic. Ryan and I met with Parks, Ryan went to Harbor, EDC, Conservation Commission is coming up. A number of these boards and committees, or committees specifically, have had an opportunity and sort of walk through an abbreviated version of that slideshow that we talked about. There's a section on the website that we have that hopefully helps some people to get some answers that they have. And obviously there's the other part of this, which is the part that we can't talk about, which is the fact that the town's in, an active suit with the town of Camden over sort of arrears and where we are with the lack of an agreement and rate. So it's a very difficult topic to have, very difficult conversation to have, and Denise and I, who are in mediation all day today, it's even those who are in the room, it's challenging to have the conversation because you can get in the weeds very fast and get lost. So in talking with Orion and then also with some residents, it seems like we need a second layer here. The board certainly is great to hear out what's going on, and I think there's been great communication, and I think with each of you having had a chance to talk with individual residents, that's obviously gone well, and I think everyone's better informed. But it seems like there's a need for a group of singular focus to sort of tackle this, help to sort of meet the gap that I think exists right now. I think there are residents who have a lot of questions and concerns, and I think we need to meet them where they are. And that means, I think, pulling people who aren't staff, who aren't necessarily on the board, to explore this topic and this discussion somewhat on their own, or see if they come to the same place that staff came to when we talked to the board these many months ago. So what I'm suggesting is you create a task force with 5 members, but effectively with 3 sort of goals in mind, which is 1, to establish a common foundation on the history and status of discussions and negotiations with Camden. That's problematic and difficult, but for anyone to understand why we need to build a plant that could cost $18 million, they need to understand why that's happening. And so we need help with that, I think, as a town. 2, solicit community input on potential alternatives. Certainly there's a lot of residents who have thoughts about, well, why not do this and why not do that? To have other residents be part of that, I think, could be very helpful. And 3, discuss and solicit input on siting considerations, risks, and costs. Task force shall provide the forum results to Rockport residents, town operations, and the select board. Further responsibilities of the group shall be based on the outcome of the initial community engagement forums. The idea really here is, and as you all know, the idea of any wharf sited at Kramer Park has a lot of people concerned and some very upset about it. So that, obviously, for anyone to suggest that's a good idea, there must be a lot of bad ideas. And so this group needs to go through that same sort of vetting process that staff went through, so that everyone can say, hey, now we see where, why, how, where we're going. So, those are the three main factors of this. I would suggest this is a group of 5. I think they need to be small and nimble, so they can move quickly. So 3 people have already stepped forward with interest and able to involve themselves on this. And predominantly, I was looking for people who are already serving on committees. We could have put an open call out, but I think the point really being is we have people who understand a little bit about how this works.
And they're very active members of these committees.
Absolutely.
So I think those are good, great recommendations.
We were at in a meeting, Denise was there, and Orion, was it Thursday? With members of the Conservation Commission.
Right.
And, I mean, there were so many PhDs in this room. I was like,
it is a fantastic group of people, and
ridiculous.
we need to tap into
We
that
have those
experience.
resources.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Bilbo, Bob Kennedy, and Doug Cole have been willing to put their names forward as people who can help to work on this problem. And
I guess I'll just mention
Yeah.
Sam Clark, who's the new COO at Rockport Marine, is now a Rockport resident, and he was the wastewater plant manager
Oh, wow.
for FMC, and is very interested in doing this. Now, he's not on a current committee, so he doesn't quite fit that criteria, but the expertise he has, yeah.
Yeah, Joe.
Can we say this?
So Sam did put an application in to be on the planning board as well.
Okay,
Okay.
That's not before you yet, that'll be. on
yeah,
next
but he
month.
would
Yeah.
be on a town
This is
committee.
new here, so we'll need to talk about that.
Yeah, I think that could be a conflict if he was.
Oh, good point.
Oh, good
Yeah.
point, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing, not to.
Yeah, and I'm not nominating him tonight, I just wanted to
Yeah.
let the group know that there's someone who has
With experience.
incredible qualifications to.
The other thing, that during the workshop, there were people that had come to the meeting to be informed, and they didn't know up to that point what was going on, so it was hard to get them onto a moving wheel.
Right.
But the idea is, I don't think there's any of us here that don't want to have an agreement with our neighbors. But they've also given us a deadline of June of 2026. And rather than waiting until January of 2026 to do something and then hastily do it, we're trying to be
Right.
proactive and explore options ahead of time.
Right.
So
But we still
that's-
want to keep
right.
working on another track of trying to work with Camden, but we've got
Right.
to keep this moving as well.
That's right. It's a difficult balance, but and I think probably for the 2 months since that meeting for the 5 of you, and, you know, even for me, when people come up to me, it's easy to explain the letter that says out by a certain time. It's difficult to explain the whys perhaps behind that when, you know, as we've all heard oh, there's so much capacity, there's this or that. And there's all these stories and sort of local lore about how it works or how it should work. But all we can go by is what we're told and what's in writing, and I think take people at their word when they say it. And so that's the word that we have, and we would be dereliction of duty on my part to not work towards what that option might be. But also, there's going to come a time, perhaps very soon, to hit that deadline of March 2026, where we need to make a decision. The town might have to make a decision. Obviously not June, but sooner than we might think we're ready for right now. And so there needs to be some sort of community conversation about these issues, these topics, what we value, what we don't value, and also the recognition of cost. And we've talked a lot about what is and what isn't, but again, it's before my time in this chair, but I certainly remember reading Village Soup with people being very, very upset about the rates that they were being charged.
Absolutely.
And sustainably, we can't go back to that place or worse. And so there's some modeling that's gonna have to be done to show, and some education and some knowledge base we need to gather. But that's a conversation, nobody wants, I wouldn't want a wastewater, a wharf in my backyard either. But what do we do when we're confronted with this matter? So hopefully this group of people, so I'm, just to put a pin on that, there's 3 people I think that are ready to go and could take the charge. I would suggest keeping 2 more slots and have an appointment available to them so they could get going as soon as humanly
So,
possible.
question. In making the motion, should the motion be perhaps, I move the board establish a wharf exploration task force to include the 3 names, I'll name those up above, as well as 2 more for a maximum of 5. Do we want to have an alternate, should somebody get done? Somebody can sit there if they want to go to the meeting.
I would stop it at the 2 include and not even set a max.
Yeah.
Well,
Only because who knows what we might find out in the next month. I'm not trying to make it a huge
No,
committee either, and I
no, I'm
appreciate
just
it.
trying to figure out whether we want to
Hem
say up
ourselves
front
in.
that we only want 5.
Yeah.
Because if we don't say a number, then if you have 13 more come along, all this, there again, I'm just trying to
Okay.
keep it.
So, the wharf task force to include Bill Baub, Bob Kennedy, Doug Cole, and, 3 additional, 4 additional?
Two more full-time and 1 alternative? Alternate.
Alternate?
Yeah, sorry, alternate.
Yeah, that's,
I mean, I'm sure there might be somebody that might want to go and be interested and listen, and if somebody has to bow
Right,
out.
there'll be meeting, anybody can attend, right?
It's gonna be a couple of years, so if anybody wants to bow out or has to, you have somebody that might be ready to jump in and we don't have to go searching again.
Okay. So the motion I have is move the board establish the WRRF Exploration Task Force to include Bill Baub, Bob Kennedy, Doug Cole, and 2 additional full-time and 1 alternate member.
Second.
Okay. Further discussion? All in favor? All right. I'll apologize to Denise in advance for my, Diane. That's the,
We're interchangeable.
I know,
There's a
to Diane in
Jesus.
advance for my hen scratch today. All right, now we have to act on the moratorium for the Seaview Cemetery. This one is always a difficult one, in my opinion.
Oh, so this is just extending the
This is
current one.
extending.
correct.
It expired in,
It will expire.
will expire,
This month.
okay.
So it will expire this month. What I'm recommending to the board is you extend it for 1 year. I don't want it to take a year. I would like to say it'd be done within 6 months. And the reason why I say that is, one, I was waiting for Liz to get a little bit more of her feet under her. Obviously, there's an election coming up. She's never run an election. Her first tax due date is next week. We're throwing a lot at her, and she's taking on new things all at the same time. So that's one part of it, and then the other part, obviously, is spring cleanup time, and that's where Ben is. He's activated and busy. But we need to rewrite our rules. We need to set our new rates. And we need to get that plan for the columbarium. There's 3 things that have to happen, and they have to all happen at the same time because one impacts the other. So unfortunately, it's not as easy as, I could go through and scratch up the rates and here we go, board, and let's be done with it. We need to be comprehensive and go all the way through it, and do it soup to nuts. So I'm just suggesting if we can make that moratorium extended another full year and give us that time to work through those issues, I think we'll have what we want by the end of, I'm hoping to have it by the fall, but have this, give us that extra time in case it takes a little more time to get through the board and everything else.
I move the board approve the moratorium for Seaview Cemetery for the period of April 10, 2023 to April 30, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why not?
Do you want to talk about grass?
Moss.
Not there. No, that one we're okay with for temporary. Right now, I just want a flamethrower and just burn it off. I'm kidding. Keep the grass under control.
And Eric's phone number is?
Bad idea.
I'm kidding.
I know.
My only question here would be, so we can remove this sooner if all your other parts get in place? Because I really think to do the columbarium, you kind of need to get that on a subscription kind of basis.
Right.
And I don't want to exclude people from surrounding communities
For sure.
in that whole year if you could get it up and running in, say, 4 months.
Right. That's exactly what I'm
Would you
hoping.
have to bring it back to the board? So if we approve it tonight through April of next year, and you come and say in October, hey, we're done, would you just at that point do a modification, remove the?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's another part of this in that I want to give people some time to be able, either the rate's going to change, or we want to let people know to come in and start signing up for the columbarium, or, so there's sort of, you don't want it to be immediate. We want to have some sort of time, like, for example, let's say, on May 1st, right? That's when we would end the moratorium, and then after that time, we could sell.
Yeah. Okay.
Presumably, there may be people who would want to buy a lot before whatever change is going to affect. So, yeah, that would be my hope.
So it does give us that
And
flexibility.
we'll have a whole new section over in Rockville.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Across the street.
Yep.
That's right.
That one's going to get the moss and the clover.
All right, any other discussion?
No.
All in favor? Okay, all in favor. So going from talking to cemeteries to talking about Donut Festival, vendor locations.
You're all over this.
I know,
this
he's
agenda
ready.
tonight. He's just, you
That's
can't.
No, you couldn't just cluster me in the beginning
No,
and be done with it.
no.
You're like, you have a little beginning, middle, end.
Sprinkle a Ryan in here and there is the best way to do it, I think.
Keep it all going. Got you some state legislation to talk about. I'm talking about some donuts. It's pretty good.
All right.
Now only if you brought the donuts with you.
That's
I mean,
right.
Right.
We could do it, we
We're-
could have done a
we're
taste
gonna allow
test tonight.
I know.
All right, so Donut Festival, Harbor Park. I see your recommended vendor locations, your food trucks.
So, do you want me to walk you through it a little
Yeah,
bit? Okay.
please.
So, this is pretty much for the 3rd, so the June 3rd. So the layout for the festival that day, there will be a 5K ending right in that area.
Okay.
And so the black dots in the yellow tent, that's where the donut vendors are going to be with the coffee vendor. We've got Ruckus Donuts, the only donut, and Old Time Donut.
Oh,
They're going to be
fantastic.
participating, and I'm trying to get a couple more as well,
I could come
along with the
with
coffee vendor.
donuts.
But the 5K will end right there, so they will get to refuel on carbs and then stoke up on some caffeine. And then the parade will happen a little after that. And then in between the parade and the dinner on the bridge, there's going to be a cornhole competition and some talks and some music playing throughout the festival. And we've got food at the blue locations. So some food trucks, we've got 6 of them identified,
That's great.
verbal. They're reviewing the contracts that we've sent to them, proposed. Trying to get those signed this week, and then we can start marketing who all is going to be there.
That's great.
And then the alcohol vendor, I'm meeting with him tomorrow, so there might be another meeting next week moving his location. But other than that, the light blue location is what we're proposing him right now.
Okay.
Yeah, let's put the people that are drinking alcohol
I was
next to
gonna
the
say,
water.
I was gonna say, it does make me a little nervous having it there, to be honest, but,
Yeah, he brought it up. So the
Yeah.
initial vendor we had selected was an actual, it was like a cool old truck that they
Yeah.
had something, so it was
Had
gonna be
that at the
good. It was
Lobster
gonna,
Festival,
you'd
yeah.
come down, you'd see this, and it was a nice show spot. So they backed out due to a better opportunity for them, so we've got someone else to plug in for them, so I'm very fortunate for that vendor. And he agrees to the same concerns, so.
Yeah.
I'm meeting with him tomorrow again. He's got 2 locations identified, but at any rate, the boundaries would all stay the same.
now, do we not have to have and this might be a City of Rockland thing, but at the festival, we had the tap truck, and we had to have a very specific area that was fenced off, and people couldn't go outside of that. So I don't know, that could have been specifically the City of Rockland, but I would just say, check the state regulations too.
Yeah, that's how we were thinking it was gonna be, and I talked to Abby and about her events that she puts down.
Oh, okay.
They wander around, but
Okay.
she gets the alcohol licensing person from the state. They come down, they
Okay.
verify it, because
So
it's only
they're-
3 entrances and exits, so
Yeah,
it's pretty
so
easy
that
to
must,
cover.
so maybe that's just specific to City of Rockland, but, okay, good.
And we're not doing parking down there during this, I'm assuming.
No.
Yeah, no.
Right,
So
so.
the red line, we got,
Yeah.
I've talked to the
I
police.
would just feel
they're
better
gonna be-
having them not
Yeah,
on the.
I mean,
on
even
the
if you,
bars.
even if you
They don't want to be there.
Even
either.
though they
spun them
can,
this
right.
way or put them on the
So-
backside.
Even though people can walk
yeah.
around freely, it just makes me a little nervous.
He's identified, it's either gonna be the pavilion at the back corner, so behind the food trucks, which
Yep.
now that he knows the food trucks are gonna be there, he's not particularly interested in it. Then there's the other pavilion next to the lime kilns, so he's gonna be kind of
Where the
right
picnic
next to-
tables
yeah,
are, sort of?
Yep, underneath the structure, so he doesn't have to operate a tent, he can kind of work with what we got. So with that, would you be okay with it moving to that area?
I mean,
I don't
I
know,
wouldn't,
come
I
back.
wouldn't turn it down for the location that it's on right now. I just think we should consider that,
Sure.
you know, having large, because it will obviously generate a large volume of people that it might be better to have it on the other side.
No, not next to the water.
Yeah, all right.
We don't need to be calling the fire department
That'll be all
or the
day?
Coast Guard.
Is that all day that the,
So they'll open, kind of like when the food trucks open around 11 o'clock.
Okay.
And then they'll go until the evening.
yeah.
Will they also be there the evening, the day before for
Yeah,
the Motor Booty?
Fair. Oh,
con-
yeah, they're
oh,
very
yeah, okay,
excited about
good.
that one.
Yeah, that's gonna draw a lot of people. I mean,
Yes,
they've
it
got a
will.
good following, so.
Yeah.
Do you want to run down the schedule,
Yeah,
just so we
pull
can?
up the website real quick. So on our events page, annual events, Rockport Donut Festival, we've got, so on Friday, June 2nd, 6 to 8 p.m., there's a donut cookie decorating going on. Carrie is working with, which person again, do you remember? The donut, the cookie decorating thing for the kids.
Laugh loud.
Laugh Loud Smile Big, they're gonna be part of that. And then 6 to 9 is gonna be the food trucks, and I won't say the name yet because the contract's not signed, but the alcohol vendor that will be there. And then 7 to 9:30 is Motor Booty Affair taking place. And then Saturday, we've got our donut vendors, they will start setting up at 7, they'll start selling around 7:30. But at 8 a.m. is the 5K fun run, so they'll start at the library, run down Beauchamp Point, come back up, and then not over the bridge, but down past Freya's Ice Cream into the dirt parking lot, and over the footbridge, and into the harbor. They said they've done that before, so it works out pretty well. So they'll end in our harbor with all the donut vendors. And then at 10 a.m., we're going to have the Donut Festival Parade. The papers for that are almost, well, no, they're finalized. We're about to start the publication of that, posting out. So if you're interested in it, you fill it out, and then you will participate in the parade. But that's going to go from Graffham's to the RES site.
Nice.
And then we're working out to have some judges. And then the enticing bit to bring them back is that the winner will be announced, the winner of the parade will be announced in the Harbor Park.
Bring them back down, yeah.
And is that instead, so there will not be a Memorial Day parade? Or will
There
there?
will be a Memorial Day parade.
Okay, so the week before.
It's just
So it's two
additional,
parades.
two
Just another
parades.
parade.
Parades in a week.
Yeah.
So if you
Love
get your,
we love a parade.
if you get your parade lined out for Memorial Day, just get it ready again.
Okay.
And then we're also working with the library. They're kind of managing the 5K, so they've got a book sale going on, so we're keeping that going. So from 10 to 3, there's a book sale at the library. From 11 to 1, we've got a donut and coffee social hour. So the donut vendors, they'll be there until about noon. So this is kind of the last little bit, drawing people into the donut vendors, clean them out. And then there's Main Cup. They're a new coffee roaster subscription company, and they highlight like different coffee roasters. So they're going to be there providing the coffee. which would be kind of cool for a new startup business. I talked to Seafolk. They're interested in maintaining their brick and mortar right up here, so they'll have coffee up here for people walking by.
Nice.
Then from 11 to 8, we got our food trucks, and there's a public art installation that's going to be happening as well. And then we've got our donut hole cornhole competition also taking place from 11 to 8. We have cornhole connections from Waldeboro. They're going to be managing that event. They've apparently got this whole system set up for cornhole, which is,
Great.
next level for cornhole. But it'll be interesting. And then there's the whole history art exhibition that'll be going on at, isn't that taking place in Union Hall?
Yes.
Yeah. So that'll be going on in Union Hall.
Whole history, HOLE.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the whole history.
Yeah.
Then from 12 to 3, there's another community art with Miss Katie's Changemakers. So it's another kids event taking place. And then 12 to 2, we've got Donut Creatures with Stephanie, so another kid function. And then 2 to 8 p.m. is the alcohol vendor. And then I guess 2 o'clock is whenever he said it. Anyway, tomorrow I'll be talking with him again to verify that 2 o'clock time point. And then Alex Schwartz and Alexis and Mariano will be talking about donuts. So they're big in the donut world, about all things donut. And 3 p.m., there's a homemade donut contest winner will be announced at that point. So we're going to have a designated location. If you're interested in competing, there will be, a drop-off spot, and the winner will be announced of this.
Wow.
And then 4 p.m., there's a Capture the Donut with Miss Katie taking place. And then 5 to 7 p.m. is Dinner on the Bridge with Bay Chamber Jazz Ensemble. So that will have some pre-ticket sales available, and I believe those are posted.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
They'll be posted next week. And then at 7 p.m., we end it with a block party and a DJ. So, a little bit going on.
Nice.
What type of law enforcement presence are you gonna have down there?
All day.
Well, I mean,
So-
1 or 16, or, I mean, I know you've got one at the top of the road.
Yeah, so Randy and Jimmy and I, we've been talking, so Jimmy's got the idea of everybody that'll be there on Saturday. And there will be one parked at the top so that we don't have any traffic coming down other than the foot traffic. And then he either said, off the top of my mind, we just had a brief conversation, it would be the 1 or 2 kind of going throughout the day.
I think in previous history with alcohol being served, they talked about having one by the footbridge or over in that area, so people are deterred from taking it off or bringing
the
it off.
Oh, yeah, no, there will be somebody placed there preventing that from happening. That's what was identified on that map. There's a little light blue
Yeah,
line.
there's 3.
3 of those.
So you've got the footbridge,
Mhm.
or before you even get over to the footbridge.
That's correct.
Okay, and then you've got,
And the one up the top, that'll be the police officer on duty.
okay,
And then one at the bottom, kind of next to the harbor master building.
where you can go up that
Yep.
trail, okay. Good idea.
So. we'll
I
have
move
that.
the board approve the Donut Festival vendor locations as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? I think it sounds like a wonderful weekend.
It'll be
I know a
fun.
lot of work goes into planning these events. I know that I have several people that are looking very much forward to participating, so.
Can we,
Great.
can we incorporate our police chief into that somehow? It seems like it would only be appropriate.
Yeah,
I mean, he is.
yeah.
And-
No, I mean
Festival.
for donuts.
Oh,
police.
Oh,
I had
should-
this.
We're working
he
on
should be
that.
the grand
No.
marshal.
We're working on that, so, yeah.
After his week, I'm not sure. He deserves a dozen, I think, just
He
on
should be the grand marshal. I
Yes.
mean, isn't there actually a Randy's Donuts, like it's famous, like out west or
Gotta be.
somewhere? I think there
Yes.
is.
Gotta be.
It's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Oh, my goodness.
I think it's going to be great, and I know a lot of people are looking forward to the dinner on the bridge because that was so successful the first time. So I know that so we'll be anxious to see those ticket sales so we
We're
can.
gonna start out with 200 tickets, but we have the availability to add more if it sells
Okay,
out quick.
good. We'll be ready to grab them. All right, thank you, Ryan.
Absolutely.
We have a couple of discussion items, so time and place for the organizational meeting. we normally is held directly after the town meeting. Because we're not doing an in-person town meeting, technically, we can have the organizational meeting any time the day after elections.
You don't necessarily need to make the decision tonight. You could make the decision next time,
Why
but
don't we just set it? I mean, wouldn't you
You
just
could.
set it the day after election at 6 PM? or-
You'd
That's
have-
what I would
could do that.
I mean, you'd have to, because you gotta have everybody, whoever signed
Right.
warrants and.
You could let them know.
and
Yeah,
So if you vote, vote Tuesday, get sworn in Wednesday.
so
Yeah,
it would
let's go with the
be,
Thursday.
usual
Okay,
6 PM Wednesday.
that works.
so what's the date of that? Can someone give me the date?
The 14th.
Wednesday, June 14th,
Yep.
6 PM. Okay, so I make a motion that the organizational meeting will be conducted Wednesday, June 14th at 6 PM.
Second.
Thought we were trying to decide where, though.
Oh.
Probably here.
Where? Do you want it here?
Or I was just
Do you
thinking
want it
the
at the town
Richardson
office,
room.
the
Will it need to be
Richardson
live
room?
It's only gonna be,
It's gonna be like 2 minutes,
15
15
minutes
minutes.
Yeah,
So
I
just
think,
do it in the Richardson
I
room?
think Richardson
Okay.
would be, we could put the
Yeah.
owl,
The booths will be out of the way. Company by
Yes.
then.
yes.
All right,
Yes.
so Wednesday, June 14th, 6 PM, Richardson room is the motion. Mark, do you still second that?
yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor? All in favor. Okay. The next we have is discussion regarding the June 26th meeting.
Right, so this is bylaws, liaisons, wastewater, budget.
So this is all the other stuff that has to be done when you have new members. Okay,
Because usually we don't, because usually your meeting, your regular meeting would have been the 12th. So the idea would be to meet the 26th as opposed to meet the day before election.
okay, yeah, that makes, right, obviously, you would have to do that. Okay,
Unless, yeah,
okay. So I know these are discussion items, but she has us as voting on them, but.
I mean, yeah, it's,
All right, so I'll make a motion that the select board meeting for June will be the 26th of June, location to be determined, because I don't know if we know at that time.
yeah.
Okay,
I'd like it to be here, but that
Okay.
would be,
Yeah, I would think so.
okay, thank you.
bye, Bob.
Do we have a second on that?
Sure.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? All in favor.
So, but there will be an earlier select board? No, so we won't have it.
So the
We won't have a
26th
select board meeting from May
8.
8
till
all the way
June.
till June 26th. And then
Unless
if we
something
need to call
happens.
something.
If we need to have
We'll
it,
deal
we'll do
with
it,
it.
we'll do it, yeah.
Right.
Okay. Do we have any liaison reports that anyone wants to provide?
I think,
so.
Parks is going to do their spring cleanup, working with Rockport cleanup, so we'll do the village area for Parks and,
Beautiful.
You should put that in the paper. Maybe get some volunteers.
volunteers are always good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't, Marcy usually, there's a lot of work
Marcy
going.
and Maggie, I know are working on getting the rest of the town scheduled.
Good.
So I know that that's going to be happening as well. Anything else? John, just one note on the future meetings, office closures. I
Yeah.
think there's another day in June, Juneteenth,
Oh, yes.
that needs to be added to that list.
Yes,
June 19th.
you're right.
Yeah, so Diane can add that, just so that people remember.
Yes.
All right, well, sounds like we have been through everything we need to go through. Anything else for tonight? No? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Any discussion? All in favor? All right.